What is going on, Slasher fans? My name is Sean, and today in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my complete spoiler review for Scream 5. If you guys haven't seen Scream 5 yet, do not watch this video, as, again, this video is going to have tons and tons and tons of spoilers in it. We're going to be going over Easter eggs, spoilers, things you may have missed in the movie. We're going to talk about the future of Scream and possibilities of Scream 6 and what we could expect to see in Scream 6, as well as some stuff that I didn't like in the movie and all the shit that I did love in the movie. So if you guys are new to this channel, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, smash the subscribe button, and follow me on all social medias. But again, that is what we're going to be talking about here today on...
What's your favorite scary movie? I told you not to hang up on me.
Okay, now before we get into the spoiler review part of this video, I wanted to just go over all the cool Easter eggs that we've seen within this movie. So for all you diehard Scream fans, there's a lot of Easter eggs that they had within this movie, as you know of, but there's some stuff that I guarantee you missed. I've personally watched it 3 times now, and I'm still picking up on new stuff every time I go in to see it. So first we're going to go into all the Easter eggs, and then we're going to get into the spoiler review of this video. So the first Easter egg that's going to pop up is going to be in the opening scene when Tara is having this first call with Ghostface. She ends up having to get asked questions, just like Casey Becker does in the first movie. But one question she gets asked is revolving Casey Becker's character and who the actress was that played her character with the movie within a movie. And Tara actually cheats and goes on her phone and looks the characters up on like IMDb. And when she goes to cheat and get the answer online, we actually get to see that there's some actors that were in Stab 1 that we never knew, such as Courtney Cox's friends like David Swimmer and stuff like that. Another Easter egg that we got is that Vince is the nephew of Stu and the son of Stu's sister. And now that we know Stu had a sister, that's very interesting because that could lead to some cool stuff in the future. Also, during Vince's death scene, the iconic song Red Right Hand also starts playing. When Sam and Richie enter Woodsboro, you can see a sign that says Elm Street, and there's a surprise cameo featured with Skeet Ulrich's Billy Loomis, and he turns out to be the father of our main character Sam, and like that's pretty crazy. I have some thoughts on that. I'm very mixed on it. Like, I mean, I hate it, but I love it at the same time. We'll get into more of that in a little bit. When Sam and Richie actually go to see Dewey, finally, we can see a can of ashes with Tatum's name on it, finally showing us that Dewey seemed to care that his sister died. When Dewey finally decides to help, we do get to hear Dewey's iconic cowboy theme from Scream 2 as he walks up to the driveway. Once inside the house, we find that Chad and Mindy are the niece and nephew of Randy, and it's also in the scene that we get a surprise cameo of Martha Meeks. I thought that she again just got a small little scene. I kind of was left a little disappointed with that. We'll get into that in a bit. This movie also talks a lot about the Stab movies. Richie at one point mentions that the series fell off after Stab 5, and if you go back to Scream 4, it's mentioned that Stab 5 had time travel, so that kind of makes sense. Personally love how well connected the movies within the movies are. I think that was really cool, and it was a really nice touch. Another surprise cameo we got is when Richie's on his laptop watching YouTube. We can see YouTuber Dead Meat and his wife acting as YouTubers within this movie, talking crap over the Stab 8 movie, which I thought was really cool. So Dead Meat, if you're surprisingly watching this video, man, like you got a cameo in a Scream movie. Like in the scene, we also finally get our answer on what that flamethrower Ghostface was. We also finally get our confirmation about Kirby Reed's fate. This is a very like blink and you'll miss it moment, but on the computer, we can also see a recommended video that says interview with survivor Kirby Reed, finally confirming and letting us know that Kirby is in fact alive within this universe. When Sydney's on the phone with Dewey, she mentions her husband's name is Mark, which is very much insinuating that she did end up marrying Detective Mark Kincaid from Scream 3, because all of us Scream fans know that there was definitely some sexual energy between the two. Another really cool Easter egg that was announced to us after the release of the movie by the actual directors themselves was that Randy Meeks, Casey Becker, and Stu Macher all play cameos within this movie. They're little tiny nods, little Easter eggs and stuff. I'm going to explain all of them to you right now. Barrymore ends up making a voice cameo as an announcer at school. I forget exactly what she was saying over the announcement, but that's her making the announcement. Our good old buddy Randy Meeks does make a voice cameo in this movie. In the scene when everyone's getting kicked out of the house, you can hear a guy say somebody's lame-ass dad is kicking us out of their house. That is our boy Randy Meeks. And at the very opening of the scene at Stu's party, you can see Amber walking through the house, and you'll hear somebody say, "Hey Freeman, nice house." And if you hear that again, you will 100% know that that is Stu Macher's voice. Now we're going to get into some predictions and stuff on what I think this could mean. Is this just an innocent little Easter egg cameo, or is this foreshadowing something bigger? We're going to talk about that soon. But now with all these Easter eggs down and out of the way, we're going to get into the spoiler review of this movie and what I thought of this movie. And oh my god, I fucking loved it. I loved every bit of this. This movie is really, truly a love letter to the fans, a love letter to Wes Craven. It's like Spider-Man No Way Home. It's fan service. It's given us everything we could have wanted in a Scream movie. Again, Scream Pierce are not going to like this movie. Diehard Scream fans are going to have issues with this movie. Casual viewers are going to love this movie, 100%. But getting into the spoiler review, though, we got to talk about the opening scene here. I never thought Roger L. Jackson could sound so innocent on the phone. Like, I never knew his voice could sound so innocent, but like, wow, he can actually pull off an innocent voice. the whole change in the tone and how he sounds in this opening scene when he calls Tara is just brilliant. In fact, I showed a couple of my friends and they couldn't tell that it was him talking. Like they said it doesn't sound like Roger L. Jackson. Me, just as a big diehard Scream fan, I know the voice and I could slightly hear Ghostface in there. But it was crazy how normal he sounded, and it was like you could have a conversation with a stranger like that. And the way it twists, the way this opening scene twists, the way he talks about, like, you know, the opening scene of a stab movie, right? It's about a girl who answers the phone and starts having a conversation with a stranger about scary movie, or having a conversation with a stranger, and then that stranger then asks her, what's your favorite scary movie, before attacking her. What's your favorite scary movie, Tara? Like, I fucking love that. Everything about this scene, I loved. I liked the way that they did the opening credits. I liked how that was done. How you could see like the reflection of the police sirens, the police lights as they're literally arriving to the house, and Ghostface isn't finished yet. I thought that was a good change in formula. Making Tara actually survive this opening scene was a really big change in formula as well. Thought that was pretty cool. I like that Tara mentioned elevated horror. I love how this is now a word that we're gonna use now when it comes to these horror movies. Is elevated horror. I love her bringing up some modern movies. We did have a lot of talks that they were gonna modernize the meta, right? And they were gonna talk a lot about like newer horror movies, more modern stuff, and they really did it, and they nailed it too. They really nailed it. In fact, Mindy talking about like fucking Child's Play 2019 and Flatliners and Black Christmas was just it was gold. But like, again, my favorite part of that opening scene probably had to have been Roger L. Jackson's innocent sounding voice. It was so off-putting to me. And it was just something that I was not used to seeing. It was crazy. Now, next off, we get our introduction to Sam and Richie. I really like this little interaction that they have between each other. It feels very genuine and stuff. The little jokes, nods that they give each other. Thought that was really cool. There's not much to talk about with the introduction. They are working outside of a bowling alley. I was wrong. Okay, I admit it. I was wrong. I did talk a lot about them possibly connecting the TV series to the movie within this bowling alley thing. Maybe the town that Sam's returning home from turns out to be Lakewood. I'm still holding on to that. Scream 6, we're going to find out she was in Lakewood. But maybe not. I don't know. Bar scene. I thought the bar scene was really cool. It was really well put together, and it really gave off a sinister vibe for Vince's character. I'm very disappointed in Vince's character and how much screen time he had within this movie, but it is what it is. The little screen time he did, it was a very powerful performance. So Kyle Gallagher, I got to give it to you, man. You gave a very powerful performance for having very little screen time, so congrats on that. My favorite characters in this movie have to be Amber, Mindy, and Tara. I know a lot of people are probably going to start loving Sam. A lot of people are big fans of Vince's character, even though we got little time. Or Chad. I know a lot of people are going to love Chad, but my favorite characters within this movie out of the new characters had to have been Mindy, Amber, and Tara. They played such good roles. Tara absolutely surprised me with her acting level. She was brilliant. She was really good. That Jenna Ortega, fuck, man, you are crazy at acting, and I hope you come back to Scream 6. You ain't watching my video, I know that, but I really hope all these actors and actresses get to come back for a sequel, because I really think they could do something really crazy with this new trilogy. And they've also left off a lot of stuff for Scream 6. Like the opening that they have for Scream 6, they could go at least 3 different routes, and it would all be good. Now let's get into that Billy Loomis cameo. There's so many mixed feelings I have about that. I was shocked when Billy Loomis popped back up. I was like, what? What the fuck? Holy shit! It's fucking Skeet! Like, I was blown away by that scene. And it's like one of those things where you can clearly look at this de-aging, and you can clearly look at like the effects and what they've done here, and you can see that there's some issues with it, and you can clearly tell. And it's like, but you can't hate it, because if you're a Scream fan like myself, you can't. It's Skeet Ulrich. He's back. It's Billy Loomis. Whether he's a hallucination or not, like, this motherfucker's back. And I have a trouble hating on it. As a critic, I do have to throw my negative pointers on what I think about that stuff. I do think it was weird. Having him come back, though, is just straight fan service, and I completely understand that. I just felt like they could have done it in a little bit of a... And this is another part of the reasons why it's taken a little long to get you guys this spoiler review, is I've been really trying to wrap my head around what I think about this movie, because there's so many things that are running through my head revolving this movie, are involving this movie. It just... There's things I love and there's things I like, and then there's things I don't exactly know how to feel about it. The Skeet Ulrich cameo, Billy Loomis cameo, that is a very big thing that I don't know how to feel. Like, I don't know whether I like it, or whether I love it, or whether I hate it. And that's why it's, I haven't been able to figure out whether I love it, like it, or hate it. And that's why it's taken so long for me to get you guys this review. I've been really thinking very, very, very hardly about my thoughts on this movie. And the Billy Loomis cameo, I could have gone without it, but I think it just added that much more to the spice of, like, this Sam character is Billy Loomis's daughter. I really fucked with how they did it. The only problem I had was just how it was with the hallucinations. I think the first hallucination scene was really good, but I feel like it started to drag a little bit. Like, just having Sam almost being killed, and then she's hallucinating her serial killer father, kind of like pointing towards the knife. He's like, come on, my daughter, like, you can do this, like, let's go cut some throats. Like, it's very weird, and it didn't strike me. It strikes me as, like, fuck, Sam's gonna be crazy someday, especially after she, like, legitimately brutalizes Richie more than I think. Like, she fucking was more deadly with the way she stabbed up Richie than Richie and Amber were the whole movie. It's like, I don't, like, she's crazy. And then especially the way she leaves the house, and she looks at the reflection of the car, and it's like her fucking dead serial killer dad's like, I'm proud of you, my girl, like, he did good. Like, yeah, you killed the killer, that's good, we all love you for that, but, like, fuck, like, you guys know what I mean. But, like, yeah, again, like, the cons of this is just de-aging is a little off, and I just think it doesn't fit too well for a Scream film. But it's kind of like Scream 3. A lot of people are gonna say, well, like, that hallucination was Skeet. It's just, we didn't need that in there. That's so new. They didn't need to add that. Well, in Scream 3, Sydney does hallucinate her mother in, like, a very similar type of aspect, so I don't have too much of a problem with it. Again, it's Billy Loomis. Like, I personally just can't hate the fact that I got more Billy Loomis. Like, come on, we haven't had more Billy Loomis since 1996, people. Like, let's just be happy we got him back. All right, now let's get into the death of Dewey. How do I feel? I hate it, but I'm also very glad they did it. Very, very, very glad they did it indeed. I think that it was just something that really needed to happen, especially going that this franchise is supposed to be a franchise about a deranged serial killer. This is a meta slasher whodunit. The fact with the whole rules is that, like, anyone's on the table. You make one fucked up move and it could cost you your life. And the whole, this being like a game of Scooby-Doo where, like, none of the characters of the main trio can die because, like, they're the OGs. It doesn't, like, come on, this is a movie where anyone can die, that, like, things are at stake, and that's what we should be getting out of this movie, is that, like, we shouldn't be getting mad that there's a possibility Sydney could die. We shouldn't be getting mad that there's a possibility Gail or Dewey could die. Because it's the fact that this is a movie about a serial killer hunting people down. People are going to die. People can die. And they're not superheroes. We're not watching Batman, Wonder Woman, and The Flash make moves right here. We're watching three human beings that have gone through extensive trauma within killers trying to hunt them down. The possibility that they could eventually finally run out of luck and they could finally meet their demise is something that we should just expect. Even Sydney dying. People do not want to see Sydney die. I personally think it's disrespectful to do that to Wes Craven's name by killing off, like, the fucking lifeline of your franchise. I don't believe that that's something you should do. But it's the fact that if it were to happen, what if Wes Craven did it? Will we be just as mad? I don't think we would. I think that we have had trouble accepting that these movies are movies where we are supposed to feel something from this. And I bring this up to, I will compare this to Iron Man's death. Robert Downey Jr. has been making Marvel movies, Iron Man movies, and been in these Marvel movies for so many years. Eventually, he got taken off the board. People hated that they did that, but at the same time, it made rewatching these series something emotional. There's something that happens at the end. It's not just all fun and dandy. Shit happens that you don't want to like. Spider-Man No Way Home. Shit happens in that movie that you don't want to like. The whole fact of emotionalness in movies is that there's stuff in these movies that we don't want to happen. We can't get everything we want. And of course, in certain stories where there's very depressing acts happening or there's very sad situations going down, we just have to be able to accept the fact that some people die and some people live. And Dewey just had to go. And it makes sense that he would be the character that has to go. He's had the best luck out of every character in the franchise. He's had the best luck out of every person in the franchise. It's like a mix of he's had the best and the worst luck. Out of every character within the franchise, he has gotten brutalized by Ghostface the most. He got stabbed up in the first movie. He was very brutalized in the second movie. He's brutalized in the third movie. And in the fourth movie, he's like smacked around with a damn pan. Gail's stabbed. It's a little different formula that wise, but like something happens to Dewey every single time. And I said it as soon as they dropped that clip of Gale kind of screaming at something. I said, like, Dewey's gone. It's either a misdirection or Dewey's gone, because, like, there's no way that this man is going to survive a 5th movie. I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. The trailer's hinting that he's washed up in a bottle now, and he's not doing too good. Him and Gale aren't together. They're divorced. They're setting this up for that. The way in the trailer it shows Dewey getting that hero moment. It's just very much foreshadowing the fact that Dewey's going to meet into his demise in this movie, and I had that feeling for a long while. And as much as I hate it, I think that what they did with the death scene was really well done, and I think it was a good thing. Dewey got brutalized with double fucking blades, one here, and then ripped up. And then the man said, "It's an honor?" Bro, like, what? Crazy shit. And it's honestly going to make rewatching this franchise a lot more emotional, and I like it. And I'm very happy that they ended up doing what they did with Dewey's character, and I feel like some people are going to hate me for that. Also, just wanted to bring this up here. On January 21st, Collider dropped this article saying the Scream filmmakers explain why that character had to die. We all know that means Dewey. I want to read into you some stuff here. The interviewer basically had a 45-minute spoiler conversation with the directors Tyler and Matt and the executive producer Chad, and he absolutely says he had to ask them, why did Dewey have to die? And this is the answer that he was given. He was told that it was so emotional and it was so gut-wrenching that when we read it, we were like, oh yes, this is the right choice. This is exactly what you need to feel right now at this point in the movie. And also, it would be the only thing that would bring Sydney back to Woodsboro, because we also all think that Sydney said herself to Dewey, like, with all due respect, I have no intention of coming back there. If it wasn't for Dewey Dewey dying, she wouldn't have come back to Woodsboro. Dewey's one of those characters who's always willing to put his life on the line for others, and the team felt it was a necessary sacrifice in order for the franchise to move forward. This is another sacrifice to the horror gods of a good man, and that now that the franchise can live on a little bit and the movie can be what it is, no, it is not an easy sacrifice to make, but it's one with great value during the film, and after it's all over, people are supposed to be sad about this. People are supposed to have a new reverence about this, and in the days after the movie came out, I think one of the biggest things and nicest things that people said was that they immediately went back and watched the original just so you could see Dewey and the way he started off and kicked off everything, and that just means a lot. He's a beloved character in movie history, and one of the most beloved, in fact, and I think that's the exact reason why Dewey had to be the one. It's not lost on us that him being a survivor of so much brutality, that for the movie to show the audience that it was playing for keeps and that there's no safety net under what you think this movie is going to be, which to us is honestly one of the most important things to achieve with the Scream movie, is that it is going to make you experience some really difficult things. I think that we all forget that this is what's so compelling about the opening of the first movie, is that it hurts and that you don't like the feeling of that, and that at the same time completely it has you hooked in. And for us, we wanted to have a similar feeling about that scene, and reading it, we felt that certainly was something we had to do in shooting it. It was like, oh, this is a big deal, and it's going to change the emotionality of the movie in a way that hopefully, well, yeah, it's super difficult, it's also going to make everyone invest, because they want the fucking killers to get their due diligence. Like, we want them dead after this, and we cannot wait for that to happen. David had talked about Dewey thinking of himself as like Clint Eastwood, and obviously we know Dewey is not Clint Eastwood, but that's what he brought to this character. It's that he wanted to be that guy, and so there was something that we really tried to put into his death scene, where you kind of finally give him that moment of like, here he is, he's doing the high noon hero's walk, he's going to do the thing and he's going to achieve it, and kind of let him go out like a hero in that like sense. Deserved isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. Send him out in a funeral pyre kind of thing. Like, really just go for it. I can't go any more into the fact that I believe that it was a necessary thing, and I think the movie wouldn't be the movie without that scene. Now, my thoughts on Judy and Wes's death, I fucking love it. I love the phone call between Judy and like, hello, Judy. Like, oh my god, it's so creepy. And one of my favorite, in fact, this is actually one of my favorite elements to the movie. Is the whole, just when she's like, what are you gonna do to him? And then Ghostface is like, ever heard of Psycho? And then it has this nice replicating scene to like the fucking scene in Psycho when it's pointing right at the shower. Like, it was just great. I thought that was perfect. It was great. The suspense in the movie was a little dragging for me. Like, I felt like it was dragging at some points personally, and I felt it was almost comedic dragging in a way, having Wes open the door, and then it's like very suspenseful, and then the suspense drops. There's no one there. Opens the fridge, suspense, and then the suspense drops. having Judy die, I had a feeling it was going to happen. I knew she was either going to be a killer or she was going to die, because there's no reason to bring her back from Scream 4. That was just fan service. Again, that was just more fan service. But by the end of the movie, we end up finding out that the killers are Richie and Amber. What did I think of the Ghostface reveal? I thought it surprised me. The formula that we're so used to is that they end up getting trapped into a room. Ghostface comes out. He reveals himself, or she reveals herself. And wada bing, wada bang. Sydney whacks the killer off, and killer comes back, makes sure the killer's dead. Movie's end. Credits. That's usually what it is. But this time, fucking Amber just pulls out a gun and it's just boof. Welcome to Act 3. That surprised me. And I loved that change of formula, because I feel like we were just going at this is supposed to connect to the first movie. It's going to be so reminiscent to the first movie that we were expecting it to be so similar. I was expecting it to be very similar to the first movie, and the whole ending scene is actually completely different from the first movie. Sure, it takes place in Stu's house, but the scene goes a complete different route to what we're used to and what we would expect to happen. I think the motive was amazing. Having toxic fandoms, meaning that they're fans of the Stab franchise, and they're mad at what Hollywood has done with that franchise, bringing time travel into this. I think that motive is perfect, because it also very low key is a message to us fans. I personally never knew how toxic the Scream or just horror community is in general before I actually joined the Woodsboro Horror Film Club. I'd never fucking known. I never really thought, as much as a horror fan as I am, I never thought like, hey, let me join a Scream group to talk with fellow Scream fans. But actually getting to join it, people throw flack on each other for the stupidest shit ever. Somebody believes that Stu could have had a sexual relation to Billy, and suddenly they're being insulted in the comments, like full out negatively insulted by other fans of this movie. Like, you're a fucking idiot. Your opinions aren't relevant. They don't matter. Get off this group. And it's like, whoa. This is all a movie. It's a franchise that we all love together. Why are we fighting each other? And I think that was amazing, because the whole commentary and theme about toxic fandom and how much these movies mean to people was brilliant, because I'm one of those people that look at these movies and think, man, this movie means a lot to me. And again, like I said, I never realized how toxic the fandom was for these movies until joining these groups. Like, this movie practically predicted our negative reactions to this movie, proving them right on toxic fandom, because there are people that don't like it, and they prove us right of it. I love how Richie's talking about, like, how can there could be a toxic fandom? Like, we love these movies or whatever. Overall, I think the motive was amazing. I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 10 for a motive. I think it was very unique, and it was very well put together. But now, as good as every movie is, there are some cons into the movie, and now we're gonna get into some of the cons that I thought about Scream 5. I did feel like there was some dragging at points. I feel like the first 35 to 40 minutes is just very much dragging along with kills. I feel like Ghostface comes out, there's a nice suspenseful killer attack, and then Ghostface disappears again, and there's a little discussion break about what they just experienced, and then he comes back out, there's another attack, and then a break, and then another attack. But then there gets to one point in the movie when everything twists. I would say that's probably the hospital scene when they all start to go to try to save Tara at the hospital. That's at the point where the movie takes a turn and it gets very serious and the plot starts unraveling. And when it starts unraveling quick. But for the first 30 minutes, I did feel there was a lot of just dragging, not much character development. It was just attack after attack after attack. But I have to say, the cinematography and those kills and the way Ghostface stabs, it completely made up for the dragging, because I didn't really realize it the first time watching it, but the second time I realized it felt like it dragged a little bit. But first time watching it, I was so invested in the cinematography and how beautiful that was that it wasn't that big of a deal for me. Second, again, I have an issue with Vince's character. I think they could have done a lot with his character. They could have made him a red herring for almost the whole movie, because he is just he's very suspicious. He's very suspicious, and you could have made him be like someone that we would have been sus about him the whole movie, but they killed him off very quickly, and it's the way they killed him off that I kind of have a problem with. I feel like this scene's very heavily edited or something. I feel like there's like a big chunk of that scene we're missing, because all it is Vince taking a piss, and then he just gets a nice little to the neck, and that's it. It doesn't even feel like he gets rocked in the neck with the knife. It just feels like a little poke, and then he's like, and he falls over. And we seen from the trailers there was more to this scene, so there was definitely a lot of edits put together in the scene, and I wonder why. And yeah, Kyle Gallagher, if you're ever watching this video, like, you should fucking make a tweet just going like, hey, by the way, there was like 5 scenes that got cut out of the movie, like, release the Vince Schneider cut, buddy. I am a little sad that Wes's character didn't get as much screen time as I had hoped he did, but I can't complain with the way that scene was. It was such a brilliant scene. Now, a con I do have was that I felt like Richie's character was way too predictable. I felt like Richie and Amber both had some predictability to them. I feel like if you are a purist, like a Scream purist, there is probably a very good chance that you'll predict who these killers are before the movie's done. One of my main reasons for thinking this is because a lot of the time throughout especially in the opening scene, it is very much suggested that Ghostface cloned Amber's phone. And what we know of in this in the previous franchise, the previous Scream franchise, if anything we know about cloning cell phones is that they took it to an extreme level when it came to Scream 3. It's not new that Ghostface's, the people that deem the Ghostface costume clone the victim's cell phones. But what is a little new and uncalled for was the way that Scream 3 went at it. They made it so the voice changer could somehow magically turn into any person's voice that they wanted to be. You could pretend to be Dewey, Sidney, Gale, whoever you wanted to be, and that's just very unrealistic. There's nothing realistically that you could say to explain why that could be something that you could realistically see happening in a real life scenario. So I guarantee you a lot of Scream purists called the bluff on that, and it turned out to be a bluff. There's just so many things that seem very like sus, that make you sus Amber from the very beginning. Ghostface sending a video, like what's supposed to be a live feed of her watching Amber outside of her bedroom, yada yada yada. I was already like, nah, it's a pre-recorded video, but at the same time I didn't know like whether it would have been Amber. This is again not like something that completely gives it off right away that Amber is the killer, but fuck did they ever do Richie dirty for Scream purists. You 100% are gonna know who the fucking killer is, at least that Richie's the killer, if you are a Scream purist. Number one, when the hospital scene happens, when Richie's going around looking through the hospital, immediately makes him sus. Tara's like, what are you doing here? And then he turns around and Ghostface slices him and he throws his arm up like that. That is the same way that Jill throws her arm up in Scream 4. And it's like, bruh, you're not gonna fool me twice. Also, the whole interrogation scene where he's trying to like make them choose whether I'm gonna kill Richie or I'm gonna kill Tara. I was already like, nah, man, he just got sliced in the arm. Richie's the other killer. Obviously, she's like, they're not gonna kill Richie. Third time watching it, one of the things you'll notice is that after Amber, who was in the Ghostface costume when attacking Dewey, after Dewey shoots Amber in the costume, it cuts back to Richie. And first time watching, you're gonna mistake this as Richie, just like, oh shit, Ghostface just got shot. But in reality, now that we know that Amber was Richie's love interest, secretively, we do now know that Richie's face was actually pure terror, thinking that his girlfriend just got shot. He can't say anything about that because he's the accomplice. He's the other killer. I thought that was kind of a dead set giveaway. But if that's not a dead set giveaway for you, the number one thing that gave it away for me is that, okay, we all know that the Ghostface killers, the people that are doing this stuff, we all know they follow a certain agenda, certain rules. You can't kill virgins. You can't kill gay people. If you're drinking and doing drugs, you're automatically going to die. It seems like Richie had no idea that Sheriff Judy was able to be killed, because when Sam calls him and lets him know that the killer killed the sheriff, Richie kind of slips up and he goes, wait, you can do that? And then quickly goes, oh, I mean, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I'll be right there. As a Scream fan, a diehard Scream fan, I know the killers follow a certain agenda. I know they follow a certain set of rules, and as soon as he said that, I was like, oh shit, okay, Richie's a killer. The thing is, I didn't catch on to that the first 2 times I watched the movie. The third time I watched it, I caught on to that and was like, holy fuck, like, that's obvious. I don't know how I didn't catch on to it. That's pretty much all the cons that I have about this movie. Overall, I think this movie was amazing. I think it totally it has people talking, and I think it's going to reinvigorate the slasher genre. I am so looking forward to see what other companies are going to end up making to try to copy Scream, because we all know when a movie becomes big like this, we got people that try to copy and stuff. And it's a slasher. I want more slasher movies other than Scream, so go ahead, fucking get inspiration and make more slasher movies for us, because I'm sure us horror fans want some more slasher movies other than Scream. It would just be cool to see the slasher genre be reinvigorated. It would be fucking amazing. Now, before we end off this video, let's talk about the future of Scream, what we can expect to see in Scream 6, if there's going to be a Scream 6 in general. So, movie made $53 million plus on its 4-day global opening. That is a lot of movie for a horror movie. I cannot tell you how much money that is for a slasher movie. That is a lot of money, and I think we can bet we are going to get some sort of sequel. Second, Chad survives, leaving him able to return for Scream 6. This is, again, a blink and you'll miss it type of moment. If you're not paying attention, you can see Chad in the back of the ambulance, and he is conscious, so we do know that Chad does end up surviving the attack that he gets with Ghostface. Third, I think the parents of some of the characters are going to become very important in this next movie. We do get the talks that Tara's mom, Sam and Tara's mom, was a very unhinged, Billy Loomis obsessed woman, and she was completely obsessed with Billy. How is it going to be if Sydney ever goes face to face with the woman that was fucking downright obsessed with Billy Loomis? Who knows? I think that's very interesting, and I think it automatically makes the parents of Tara and Sam automatic accomplices. Another thing they also didn't show was the father of Chad and Mindy, nor did they show Stu's sister, so that leaves the parents of Sam and Tara to be in this next movie. I think the parents of these characters are going to become very big deals within this franchise. In general, I just think the parents are going to become some sort of big influence when it comes to this sequel, because again, they didn't show Stu's sister, they didn't show the father of Chad and Mindy, nor did they show the parents of Sam and Tara. So it's like these people, but they talk about them a lot, and they pretty much set in stone their characters, so it's very possible that we could get more of them in a sequel. What do you guys think? Do you guys think there's going to be a sequel, and what do you guys expect to see in this sequel? Now again, before I let you guys go, I want to talk about that quick little Stu cameo that we got, where I said, again, you can hear someone going, "Hey Freeman, nice house." It's 100% Stu. But the question that us fans have to ask, the directors did let us know about this. Some people caught on to it, but the directors were the one that like confirmed that, like, yeah, when you hear it a second time, you're gonna know that's fucking definitely Matthew Lillard's voice. Is this just an Easter egg? Is it? Or is there something else that could happen within this movie? I personally think there's something greater within this Easter egg. Think about it. Amber does say that she's been obsessed with all the murders since her parents bought Stu's house. They didn't exactly confirm Stu's dead. Also, when they talk about the original murders, they only show Billy Loomis's picture. They don't show Stu's picture. They barely bring up Stu Macher dying. They bring up Billy dying, but they don't bring up Stu very much, if at all. Only thing that they bring up around Stu is Dewey says. Oh. We also had Stu, Matthew Lillard's character who plays Stu, say at a Comic-Con on video that I promise you I'm not in this movie. And then he goes ahead and he makes a voice cameo in the movie. He's already lying. Something's fishy. I could make a prediction for what could possibly happen with Stu's character in Scream 6. I'm going to make the theory that Stu is very much in fact alive, and that maybe he was in a mental hospital. Somehow he got away with this, whatever. Obviously, it's very clear that they know he was the accomplice, but I think he is alive. I also think that somewhat Amber knows that he's alive, and somehow maybe got in contact with him. Maybe Stu came to the house and he was actually at that house party, and it wasn't just a voice cameo, and that he's just saying like, "Hey, nice house. It's the house I committed the murders in," and Amber acknowledges him. If she knew who Stu was, and this is not just some little playful Easter egg, he damn well knows that is Stu Macher, and Stu Macher's the original murderer. I don't know. It's just a little thought to throw out there. But again, that is my spoiler review for Scream 5. I'm sorry it took so long. I had a lot to think about with this movie. Again, I've been waiting like 10, 11 years for this movie. We got to remember that. So this was a pretty big deal for me. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I got a lot more videos to film. I'm going to try to film a little more. I've been very lazy, but I'm going to try to keep doing filming. We got a lot of Jeepers Creepers updates, Five Nights at Freddy's updates, we got so much updates to make. I'm very busy, so I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to stay extra bloody. Dump a bucket of blood over your head just like Carrie, and until I see you next time, peace.